Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Who wants to be good little boys now so we can fight some war for them in the future? Some war they'll decide on. But we'd rather fight our own war right now.
Without further ado, it's time to start running!
I see 3 of them out there.
Get the one in the middle. Right. Hit the one in the middle.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Apparently it's rusted junk and we're looking at it.
Hello and welcome to Rusted Junk, where we'll be looking at the 1989 film Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze, Sam Elliott, Kelly Lynch, and loads of others.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
Patrick Swayze is
Dalton.
I thought you'd be bigger.
Opinions vary.
When he's around, anything can happen.
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
And usually does.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude.
Ask him to walk, but be nice.
Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
He may be hard to handle.
I keep talking, you're gonna go on thinking I'm a nice guy.
I know you're not a nice guy.
But he's easy to like.
What's the matter, Dalton? Don't you like women?
The worst I ever had was wonderful.
He's not what you'd expect.
I thought you'd be bigger.
But there's one thing you can count on. He's the best friend a good time ever had.
You guys tired?
Doc, I'll get all sleep I need when I'm dead.
This is my town. I'm not afraid of him.
I guess you'll be having that fire sale now, all right? Get your hands full, kid.
I just think I'm looking at a dead man.
Patrick Swayze.
For that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before.
Roadhouse.
So, the trailer for Roadhouse. Very late 80s, sort of early 90s trailer, I thought.
Well, it's just like the film, really, isn't it?
What?
1989.
Yeah, I know, but it's like one of those. There's different trailers for it. There was one that came on when it was launched on VHS. It had a different trailer, and I just thought that's the best one out of a pretty bad bunch. I would like to point out before we start this podcast that Roadhouse is Amanda's choice to watch, simply because. Well, what was the reason you wanted to?
Well, there might have been a Patrick Swayze in there, and looking very buff.
Yeah,
and,
right, okay.
Quite lean.
A Patrick Swayze fan in the 80s, 90s?
You know what? He's all right. He's easy on the eye, but he's a bit too. His hair's a bit too flouncy for me, and I preferred him in Dirty Dancing, to be honest.
Right.
His hair was shorter.
I mean, sadly passed away.
I know, such a shame.
I think it's 2008.
You see him smoking in the film, and you just think, oh.
Yeah, but people can act like they're smoking. They get like
He was smoking.
Stand By Me. They were smoking. What was it? Oregano or paprika or something like that. It's just kind of like, yeah. Do you know what that'd be like? Still can't imagine that's good for you. Well, tobacco's not good for you, but if somebody said, you know what, I'll just replace the tobacco with oregano, and and substitute
so
that.
So you're advocating the smoking of herbs?
Well, yeah. I'm advocating not tobacco, but smoking of lots of herbs. But anyway, enough about university. So, you go first. Should I go first or should you go first?
Well, I can go first.
You normally go first, so all right, okay.
Thanks.
Go on then.
I'll give it a 6.
6?
A 6.
All right.
Only because it was watchable.
Okay.
There were some okay bits in there, but some of it was a bit cliched.
Right.
And
some
I remembered it in a fonder way than what I actually saw the other day when we watched it.
Right, okay.
So I thought, yeah, I must have made stuff up in my head about the film.
So when were you a Patrick Swayze fan because of Dirty Dancing?
Yes.
And then did you watch everything after that?
No, God, no.
So Patrick Swayze wasn't a draw for you?
No.
Right, okay.
But he is now, because, like, you know, I can appreciate his form.
Right, you couldn't appreciate his form then?
What, in 89?
Yeah.
I'd only been 14. 15?
15?
15.
That's all right.
It's not really my type when I was 15.
Blossoming, as they say.
It wasn't my type at 15.
Right, well, no, because he'd be older. But
Yeah, so it wasn't really a thing.
So you didn't discover boys till later or something? Or?
Oh, no, I did.
Right, well, then you
Just
must have been
not
able to
like him.
admire his form. Look, I was, how old when Top Gun 86? I was 14. Right, I'm not being funny, but 14 is a very good age, and anybody that comes on the screen, like Kelly McGillis in Top Gun, you're just like, yeah, it's just, well, anyway, right, I guess.
Well, thanks for that insight.
Difference between boys and girls. Okay, no, actually, I take that back. That's quite sexist. Well, no, actually, no, it's not sexist. Yeah, boys. Well, clearly in this sample of two, then we've come to some very wide-ranging conclusions. Can I go next?
No, I'll ask
Right.
celebrity guest to go next.
Celebrity guest. I wish I could do an accent at this point.
Go on.
I would. No,
You
what
go.
do I do? I can't do it.
No, you go. You do your thing.
No, not
You're
an
not
accent.
a celebrity guest.
No, okay. No, well, I'm not even. Well, I'm a celebrity. We reached 1,500 listens on the podcast. 1,500 listens. There's not 1,500 of you. There's just a lot of people that like this. And before I give my score, I'd like to point out at the end of the last podcast, we said, please just get in contact with us by any means. And do you know what? None of you did. And we know that there's a hardcore of you, of 17 of you, that within 48 hours of releasing the podcast, you have listened to the whole thing, including Rocky Four, which is nearly 2 hours. It was a long podcast, and I was like thinking, oh, you guys are great. Everybody, it's fantastic. We're bound to get one shout out. None of you. Nothing. So, do you know what? To make us feel, we'll try again, to make us feel a little bit loved, and the fact that we're doing this.
We're loved in a way that, you know, podcasts need to be loved.
We're loved.
We have listeners.
We're loved in a
That's the
totally anonymous and non-interactive
There
way.
you go,
yes,
then.
That's love, is it?
That's love of the 2020s.
Right, okay. The roaring 20s, if anything's...
Well, there's nothing roaring about the 20s at the
No,
moment.
it's not going to start like that, but I mean, after the Great Depression, then yeah. Anyway.
What, this time round or last time?
Last time round. And then we've got one this time round.
We've got
But
another
anyway,
one, yeah. Let's move on.
Let's move on. So my score, 3. Yeah, it's 3.
Oh my God, I nearly spat my water out then. You can't give it a 3.
I'm never watching this film again.
You cannot give it a 3.
I am giving it a 3.
No.
I'm lucky to give it a 3, if I'm completely honest.
No, and no again.
I didn't enjoy it. I've obviously had fond memories. I mean,
God.
we're back in Leviathan times where I thought, oh, this film's great.
Hang on.
I remember.
What other films did I give it? I don't think I've ever given the film a 3.
It's not. I think you have.
Have I?
I think you wanted to give Breakfast Club a
No,
I
gave it a 6, The Breakfast Club.
Prancer, we gave like those sorts of scores.
I didn't start writing my scores
We're in
down.
Prancer and Leviathan territory here.
So we were halfway through.
Anyway, why are you flicking through your book trying to find the score?
I know.
I don't think you have
I've ever given it a 3.
I think you have.
To any film. No, I haven't.
Well, then if this is the first, this is my first 3.
Oh, it might have been Leviathan.
I'd rather watch Leviathan.
What?
I'd rather watch Leviathan again than watch Roadhouse.
Can't.
It was just every single cliche that the 80s could produce in a movie. Check, check, and check. It was woeful. Do you know why I'm giving it a 3? I'm not giving it a 3 for Patrick Swayze at all, or anybody else in the film. The villain is dreadful. The only person I'm going to give it to is Sam Elliott, because Sam Elliott kind of saves the film.
He's not fantastic in it, though.
He's not brilliant in it, no, but he's better than everyone else.
He's a bit leery towards.
Well, he plays a leery
girlfriend.
character. Oh, well, it's just nice to have a bit of a change, because because you were just like, where's this going to go? I don't know why I didn't think this at the time, but oh dear me, no, definitely not. Sorry, I couldn't wait for it to end. You paused it at one point because you needed a drink or something,
and
I was like, oh god, we've still got about 55 minutes to go. It's not going to wrap up
really?
at any time soon.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I mean it's 2 hours nearly.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, what did you get the Rotten Tomato score?
No, because you didn't play that bit. You just started the film.
10 and 10, probably. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, IMDb gives it 6.6.
Well, that tallies up with what I've given it then.
Well, then consider yourself aligned to IMDb, and I'm obviously not. However, I bet if I put Breakfast Club in here, it'd come up with better scores than you gave it that. So, each to their own. I don't know. Before we go into this complete mess of a film, should we go through roll call of the wonderful people that are in it?
Yeah, because I want to know if I remember the girl from anything else.
Well, do you know what? That is possibly one of the most interesting things of roll call. is where's the girl from?
Right.
Where is Kelly Lynch from?
Okay.
So, yeah?
All right.
It's a great game.
Let's do it then.
It's not going to be a big roll call, by the way.
No.
Right, okay.
I gathered that.
Anyway, let's go straight into roll call.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Well, we've got to start with roll call with Patrick Swayze. So he died in 2009, unfortunately. Because he does... I mean, he's in one of the greatest 90s films of all time.
You're going to say Ghost, aren't you?
I'm not. That's not the one I was going to pick.
Oh.
I genuinely...
There's
I think
some dodgy graphics on that.
in Ghost?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's of the time. I mean, it's what? It's a year after this, was it? Ghost, 1990, I think.
Time for Guru. Yeah.
Very good. See, I right. Patrick Swayze films. Do you want to have a go? Any more than Ghost? And the mere fact that you pause and the mere fact that you look at me like that means that I'm here to break the news to you that Patrick Swayze wasn't this all-encompassing Tom Cruise-esque type actor that starred in loads of stuff.
Films at all.
He didn't.
No.
But the ones he did make, if somebody had said to me, "Oh, Patrick Swayze," I would have gone. So obviously you're not going to name any of these on here. You're not going to get the one that I'm thinking of, which is probably his greatest film. But he starred in Red Dawn early in the 80s. So when the Russians invade the US, that's the premise, and people are hostage and everything like that.
In that?
No.
Oh.
So he leads a band of.
Oh, I'm thinking Red Sonja.
Yeah, but he leads a band of youth in order that fight back against them. So to do like guerrilla tactics. Okay. So he's in that film with Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing.
Oh,
so they've already.
They didn't like each other then either.
No. He was also in The Outsiders, which I've said a lot. So obviously we had C. Thomas Howell last time when we talked about Taps. The Outsiders is a great film. Put it on the list of things that we always say that we're going to watch, but we never do. We haven't.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to start making a list.
Are you going to start making the list?
Put the list in the back of my book.
You're going to check it twice. What have we said that we were going to do? What did we say we were going to do after the last time? After Taps, we were going to say we were going to watch Risky Business. That was one of them.
Yeah.
Right. So add The Outsiders to the list. Right.
Yeah.
Add Rumblefish to the list.
No idea what that is. But
That's fine.
Is that one word?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds like something you don't want to step on. It sounds like something you don't want to step on.
The Outsiders?
No, Rumblefish.
Okay. No, we'll swim next to. So Ghost we've got, which I genuinely liked. Came along at the right time. We did a movie marathon at the old Telford UCI chain of cinemas, which doesn't exist anymore now. But we did 3 films in one day. The record was 7 films. We did 7 films in one day.
How come you do that?
You start at 10 o'clock in the morning and you finish just after 1 a.m. And you go all the way through.
You say we, and we being whom?
Me, all the people, all the cohorts that used to go down to the Telford UCI. We used to get somebody to drive. It was never me. I never drove. Just like, what's the point? Get somebody else
Is it
to do
you
it.
and your mates, or you and your non-existent friends?
Non-existent friends. No, I didn't do it on my own.
Oh.
That's where I broke my record for deep pan pizza.
Don't.
Because we all starved ourselves and we went to deep pan pizza. And
at the end? That would be at 1 a.m.
At the lunchtime. So in the break that we had...
Oh, good Lord. Did you not fall asleep in the afternoon?
No.
Carb overload?
No. Although I wouldn't recommend seeing Tom Cruise's The Firm as your 5th film. Because that's hard going. But anyway, it was a good day.
Okay, Patrick Swayze then.
So, Point Break.
Oh, God, yes.
His best film.
Yes.
By a country mile.
Right, I think we're putting that on the list. Because that's a 90s film, isn't it?
Yeah. Do
you not want it on the list?
What, of us to watch?
Yeah.
Well, we know it.
Oh, okay, all right.
We can go on, put Point Break on your list.
No, not putting
it on.
That's
fine.
No.
I'd always watch Point Break again. And then suddenly he disappeared and he made like loads of like straight to video stuff. And then came out and did, remember Donnie Darko?
Yes.
So,
was he in that?
Yeah, he played a teacher, I think.
Oh.
So I was kind of like, oh,
I've only seen that once,
okay.
though. That was a weird film.
Right, okay. Now, I'll help you with this next one. So that's Patrick Swayze. Kelly Lynch. In this film, do you know what her character name is?
No.
Doc.
And
She's got a name. In the credits in IMDb, it's Doc.
Oh.
Simply because all the characters are called after famous people in westerns. So she's named after Doc Holliday. I did have a list of them. Wade Garrett was another one. So Pat Garrett, like Billy the Kid. Just characters were called westerns.
So Patrick Swayze being Dalton. Where's that from then?
Don't know.
Well, that works then.
Well, it does. It's probably from something. But anyway, so Kelly Lynch doesn't even get a name in this. She doesn't get anything apart from Doc. I've only got 2 films on here. One of them you definitely won't get. But the other one, with a bit of encouragement, you'll get. Did you get that feeling that I recognise her from something?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the one film is 1988.
Mm-hmm.
The other film is 2000.
Oh.
Yeah. That's it. In between stuff and things. I used to refer it to like Magnum PI and the Love Boat. You know, just things that people were on. So, do you want me to tell you the 2000 one?
Do I know the 88 film?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, most definitely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to tell you the 2000 film?
Yeah, go on.
I'll give you the clue. Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz.
Oh. Yeah, it's the Things.
Thingy Things.
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's
that's
Angels.
it.
Yes. She played the bad guy, Vivian.
Oh, okay.
Well, she wasn't bad. She turned bad. But she was brilliant. I really liked her in that. I thought she was really good in that. She played it really good. Right, so 1988.
Well, I've seen this film.
Yes, many times. Many times.
She's not in Dirty Dancing. Is she?
No.
Okay.
That's 87.
Right.
So.
Many times.
Bar. That's your clue.
As in sheep or as in drinking?
As in drinking.
Oh, okay. Cocktail.
Yes.
She's in Cocktail?
She is in Cocktail. Do you know who she plays in Cocktail?
No, because I've not seen it for years.
Right. Do you remember...
That was the other film, Cocktail.
Do you remember at the end where Coughlin, Brian Brown's character, to Tom Cruise's, the two of them, he gets married. Woman turns up in the fur coat. She makes a move on Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Kelly Lynch.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
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 I thought she played a fairly nondescript character in this. If I had to say which was my favourite, I'd watch Charlie's Angels repeatedly rather than having to sit through any... Well, Cocktail's all right. Cocktail's just like fluff written for Tom Cruise to make him more famous at the time. There's better stuff that he did.
Film fluff.
But Cocktail's... Would you class Cocktail as one of those films that if it's on, you'd just watch it? So I leave it on. You know?
Yeah. Not that we watch
Not that we flick through TV channels.
TV
and go,
that anymore.
It's basically, if it appears on Netflix, we'll watch it. I mean, I'm like 2/3 of the way through Air Force One at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. I'm just that is a great. I wouldn't say blockbuster because it wasn't really a blockbuster, but it's just it's
a well-rounded film.
Yes.
There we go.
There you go. Right, Sam Elliott. Anything?
I recognise the name, and I sort of recognised him.
Right. Okay.
He's not in any westerns, is he?
He is. He's in a Tombstone.
Oh, right.
With Kurt Russell. He looks like that craggy sort of face that belongs in a western.
Yeah. Sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, I love him. He was also in the 2003 version of The Hulk.
No, don't know that.
The film. And then this is the last one, and I'm not going to give you any help, but he's in a film we've already done. In fact, I think he was the star of a film that we've already covered in season 1.
He wasn't in it for very long, though, was he?
He was in it the entire movie. He was barely out of it.
Crap.
No.
Iron Eagle?
No, don't get through them. That's fine, I can give you a list.
Chances are.
No.
Moving Target.
No.
Not Prancer.
There you go.
Oh no.
He's the dad from Prancer.
He's the dad?
Yeah, he's the dad. He's the...
Oh my god.
I'm surprised you didn't go... See, and that's how much damage watching Prancer did to us.
Oh my god.
We obviously eradicated it from our minds. So, you look at him in this one, you know, bit of a rogue, upbeat and all this sort of stuff, right? You know, cocky with it and everything. Everything that he isn't in Prancer. Downbeat, dour, down, awful. Again, if you haven't listened to Prancer, our podcast, listen to our podcast. Do not, under any circumstances, watch the film.
No, go and watch the film and see how bad it is. And just imagine having a different score set against the movie.
If anyone
because if it was a horror score, you'd actually think, my god, this is
I don't know what.
depressing.
I think we gave it 3. I think we must have given it down. I don't. We might have given those. I can't remember. It's been that. It was the worst film I've seen in the last.
I gave points just for the girls acting.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Well.
She was all right.
There we go. That's roll call. Oh no! In fact, no. I've got something else, and it's probably far better than the ones that have come
what about
before
the guy
it.
That was the owner of Double Deuce. I've seen him before.
Yeah, he's been in stuff. He's Marshall Teague. No, it's Marshall Teague. No, that's not. He's not the right one. I did have it. Kevin Tighe. He's been in stuff like K9, Another 48 Hours. See, I'm even looking it up now. I should have looked him up. Oh, he was in one of my favourite TV series of all time, Murder 1. Of course he was. But yeah, so 80s films, Another 48 Hours, 8 Men Out. He was in The Love Boat. Of course he was. Everyone was in The Love Boat. Oh, he was in Better Off Dead. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Yeah, and then Star Trek Voyager, The West Wing. So yeah, he's a guy that appears in loads of stuff.
I thought I'd seen him before.
But anyway, the house band is the Jeff Healey band.
Yeah. Now, I said to you when we first started watching the movie, is that guy actually blind or is he faking it?
Well, Jeff Healey unfortunately died in 2008 as well.
Oh no.
He was a Canadian jazz and rock blues vocalist, guitarist and songwriter who attained musical and personal popularity, especially in the 80s and 90s. He reached number 5 on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart with Angel Eyes and reached the top 10 in Canada with the songs I Think I Love You Too Much and How Long Can a Man Be Strong. But when you look at this, his early life, born in Toronto, Ontario, Healey was raised in the city's West End. He was adopted as an infant. His adopted father was a firefighter. When he was almost 1 year old, he lost his sight due to retinoblastoma, which is a rare cancer of the eyes. His eyes had to be surgically removed
God.
at that age, and he was given ocular prosthetics. but started playing on his guitar when he was 3. He's developing his unique style of playing the instrument on his lap.
Yeah.
Because it made it easier. At 9, his talents were showcased on an Ontario children's programme. When he was 15, he formed the band Blue Direction. And basically, I did read this, and obviously I don't want to read this in great detail, but this guy, basically, life had dealt him lemons, and he made cloudy lemonade, which is far better than lemonade. But he made like the best thing that he possibly could out of. And he was just... I just thought, fair play to the guy.
Did he make limoncello?
Oh, yeah, limoncello. Yeah, you won't get that. But yes. So I just, do you know what? I'm going to give the movie to Sam Elliott, Jeff Healey, and ignore the rest. That's fine.
Oh, good lord.
Anyway,
right.
Yeah, right. That was roll call. Let's finish there. So, on to the film. For those that don't know, Patrick Swayze plays Dalton, and Dalton's a great bouncer, apparently, an expert bouncer. Everybody wants him. They want him at the hottest clubs and all this sort of thing. So the owner of the Double Juice travels to reopen a nightclub where Patrick Swayze does his thing, obnoxious person. Kevin Tighe's kind of like looking and saying, oh, that's him, right, okay, and watches him defuse the situation by moving the problem outside, because the guy went, oh, you're the famous Dalton. I think I'm going to have a fight with you. And he goes, right, let's take it outside. Takes it outside. The guy can't go back in because the sixth guy's blocking the exit. So he's successfully pulled the problem outside. But the first thing that you notice about him is his high-waisted pants. It's just, oh, good lord. Yeah, well, pants for the US people. But
that was the thing in the day.
Oh, I know, but he's very short with a big head. Right, that's Patrick Swayze.
Short? He's not short, is he?
Of course he's short.
I thought he was quite tall.
Patrick Swayze? Right, okay.
Are we going to Google him now?
Well, no, I mean, I know it would be easy just for everyone to join in, for me to go and ask the smart assistant.
Right, listeners, how tall do you think he was? Right, let's take some... let's
get a phone.
Yeah, let's get some phone-ins. I think he's about 6'1".
I think he's 5'7", 5'10".
Oh, he's 5'10".
5'10".
Oh, he's a bit small, isn't he, for a guy? Yep. Mind you, how tall's Tom Cruise?
Oh, wow.
He's 5'8", isn't he, or something?
I think he's 5'7". I think. If you're playing along at home and you got that one right, this is the chance for you to double down. 5'7".
It's 5'7".
5'7". He's
what
little.
a titch.
He's little, I know.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I'm 5'9".
Well, there you go. You
I'm
tower
6
over
foot
both
with my
of them.
heels on.
You tower over both of them. Oh, but anyway, he gets into.
Did he have to take a box out with him then when he was married to Nicole Kidman?
I don't know. I think he wore like Cuban heels or something.
Cuban heels. There'd be some mega heels.
There'd be some like Alvin Stardust style platform shoes. Be like Tom, they're as tall as you are.
Or like really long trousers.
Don't, because
we know to cover over the shoes.
Don't, because we know that Robert Downey Jr. listens to the podcast, so we don't want to badmouth his mate.
Oh my god.
He's probably mates with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise has probably got really tall shoes and very long trousers. And then it makes him look like he's got another joint in his leg.
Look at you, quite tickled with that. Look, we don't need Robert Downey Jr. going telling all his friends about the podcast, and he goes, do you know what they said this week? Do you know they had something bad to say about you?
Oh yeah, we'll have the what's his religion?
Scientology.
Yeah, we have the Scientologists on us.
No, we probably just made it. We probably just triggered something in Spotify things. Let's they mentioned Scientology anyway. Let's not talk about Scientology and what we may feel like it.
We could do this. We could do this as like a how tall do you think X is?
Oh, well, I'll amend roll call next time, and then you say, how tall do you think these people are? And after I don't know, maybe one podcast, it'll get really boring. Because people go, I'm not bothered anymore.
Oh.
Well, how about we just do age or something? I mean, I don't know. Well,
no, you can look that up quite easily, can't you?
As opposed to what I've just typed into Google and put in actor's name and height.
You sometimes have impressions of people and you think, God, I bet they're
Patrick
really
Swayze
tall.
looks small.
He
The
doesn't
gag in the
look
film is,
small.
I thought you'd be taller than that. It's going like, yeah, I get that. Like,
Oh no, I thought you'd
got
be
big
bigger
head.
was meant as in wider
I
and
thought
more muscly.
everything. I mean, I'm not being funny. My gun's bigger than his. My current guns at my age are bigger than his.
Guns. What about your current buns?
My current buns. What about my buns?
Oh my God.
Anyway, good lord. Well, do you know what? At least this is bringing some lightheartedness into an otherwise, helping me forget the film. So this is good.
Oh, it's funny though. There are some funny stunts in
let's
it, aren't
let's
there?
get to them. I mean, I've got them. Let's just get through them because there are certain things. So,
come on, you can do this.
We see him stitching up his own wounds. So he does his own stitches. The guy comes in and goes, "Would you like to come to my Hickville town and help me clear up the Double Juice, which is my bar?" And he goes, "Yeah, okay, my price is high." Well, how high? You ready for 80s prices? 5k up front and 500 a night. And I run the show. He doesn't fly, so he said, "Oh, I've got a plane ticket for you because I knew you'd say yes." And he went, "Oh, I don't fly," so he drives everywhere.
Yeah, because he said it's not safe.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'd love to insert a film of which he like Executive Decision or something like that he was in, where flying, is part of it, but no. So yeah, so he moves. He accepts the offer. He then goes, and we find him walking around the Double Juice. There's people strangely just passed out in the corner. There's people stood in the corner, just not doing anything. And I don't know. I've never been to a bar where somebody's just stood in the corner doing nothing, but swaying ever so slightly. So it's not even like they're playing proper drunks. So he walks around this place. He sees fights. He sees the waitresses dealing drugs. He sees the bouncers, all doing stuff. The band's playing behind a wire cage because there's bottles being thrown at it, which reminded me of the cage that the Blues Brothers played at. Which is great, which is still that. I mean, I'd say put that on the list, but I've already just watched that and you don't really like it. But yeah, Blues Brothers, but he knows the band singer, so he knows Jeff Healey. I mean, that's the thing, he goes up and talks to him. But this real, this is the example of weird things, and I know it's the 80s, and I know there are some things that don't age well, but one of them is, this guy goes, "Do you want to kiss my girlfriend's breast for 20 quid?
$20.
$20. And he goes, "Yeah." So he starts feeling him, and he goes a bit higher, and she takes the top off, she starts feeling him, and then he goes, "All right, okay, well, $20. Okay, well, that'd be $20. Well, I haven't kissed him. I haven't got $20. Huge fight. Bang. And you're like, it's just, this place, it reminded me of Back to the Future 2. It reminded me of Biff's Pleasure Palace.
Easy for you to
and
say.
what was going on outside. And it was just a complete breakdown of society. And in this bar, you're seeing the worst types of everyone. Right? He's obviously not done his research because he would have known the town's run by a gangster that's moved there. He's got the police in his pocket, like Biff Tannen. Wait a minute, maybe this is like Back to the Future 2. But Back to the Future 2, I could watch all day, every day, because it's just wonderful. Again, I could never watch this, so that's where the comparisons end. Just when it's finished, everyone's sat around drinking a beer, and you're like, your place has just been trashed the place.
Trashed the place, don't they?
Yeah.
Literally, there's nothing left. All the furniture's broken.
Yeah.
There's holes in the wall. All the glasses are broken. All the stuff on the
And do you know what? I was that
broken.
interested in the film that I just went, I wonder how much that's going to cost to replace all that stuff.
I thought that as well.
Did you? Well, you would think that, but
I thought
normally
he's just
wouldn't.
letting it happen because he's getting insurance or he wants to kind of do the place up.
Well, yeah, but he's going to have to be paying out every night. He's just going to have to go...
No. That was the end of that kind of behaviour, because he's obviously got Dalton in.
That's true. But that's been going on for such a long time that he feels that he needs to buy Dalton because it's going on so much times. So let's say that had been going on for 6 months and the place gets trashed every night. That means he's keeping the local... He's chopping down forests in order to get to the wood mill in order to build him the replacement furniture that he needs that's going to get bust every night. So it wouldn't surprise me if the people who are fighting in the bar have shares in the wood mill. Because that would make sense. Because that's how they rack it up. You've got to find some way of getting around this film. So everyone's drinking a beer. He comes in, talks to the owner. I'll let you know. Goes to the local farm. Rents a barn house, which under any circumstance looked really nice. Really.
Yeah, but the thing that got me was right. Surely, if you lived in a field on a farm, and you were above a barn, that had no proper kind of closed doors from the barn bit, you'd get loads of flies. When your lights are on and your windows are open, which was on multiple occasions in this film, there'd be so many moths.
Yeah, there'd be loads, wouldn't there?
Moth City, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They'd be just it'd be just inundated with moths and creatures and insects and stuff coming in.
Yeah, and it's the open plan thing. The guy said, well, I've got to charge you something. You know, people have had a look at that and nobody's ever moved in. And found out, conveniently, that this helicopter passes overhead and scares the horses, and basically it's the bad guy, the guy that owns the town, the guy that got loads of money, he's got a mansion over the river from the farmhouse. And he's called Brad Wesley. So everything's all set up. Patrick Swayze takes over, does his speech.
Kicks a few of them out, didn't he?
I didn't even write him down. I didn't even write a speech down. It's basically be nice.
Yeah.
And escort people out and make sure you get out. And basically gives the head barman, gives the head bouncer, who's particularly dumb, doesn't really do much, and said, you're out. The waitress, nobody deals drugs in this place, you're out. And the owner has all of this, obviously, conveniently, severance money already ready to give them and stuff. He does his speech. Then you see the bar for the first time. Woman gets up dancing, so Dalton's in charge. Woman gets up on the table, starts dancing. He signals to one of the bouncers, you need to go there. The bouncer goes up. Instead of going in, like wading in, goes, excuse me, I'd like to ask you to get down. And the guy's like, go away. You know, obviously stronger language than that. And he goes, no, I'm really asking you to go down. And then he gets punched. Next thing you know, Dalton... you see it happen. The guy has a knife. He disarms the guy, smacks his head on the thing, and then goes to hospital. So, oh no, he didn't go to hospital on that one. So you see him disarm the guy and the knife, and everybody cheers and everything else. He sees the barman skimming from the till at that point. He's like, right, there's somebody else I've got to get rid of. And then he goes home. So that's his first night, where he makes a bit of a difference. And he sees this party next door in the mansion with everyone partying. And he's like, and I was like thinking, well, where are they from? Because they don't look like the type of people that go to the bar, even though some of the bouncers that had been kicked out were in there, so you can see, oh, well, they were in his pocket anyway. But I was like thinking, where did all these people come from? Why do they not drink at the bar? It's a bit odd. He's having a massive pool party.
The weird thing was, the bad guy's girlfriend was in the bar.
Was in the bar? Yes.
And you just think, if she's a higher calibre person, she wouldn't be in the bar, surely. Unless that's the only bar in the town.
Well, she wasn't a high calibre person. She did look good. I mean, young Charles would have found that very appealing. Absolutely. Very 80s hair, very, very 80s, but yeah. He gets every time he has a chance he can smoke, he's smoking. He gets out of bed and he smokes. You know, he's just walking down the road and he smokes. he was even smoking when spoiler alert, he brings the doc home with him, and he's just like, every time he just seems to have a fag in his hand. Sorry, cigarette. You know what I mean. Cultural differences for those in America. He has a cigarette in his hand, and you're like, okay, I understand people smoking in the 80s. I understand people, 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Then everyone starts going smoking's evil. But then you're like, this is excessive. You understand in Die Hard why John McClane smokes all the time, because he's a police officer and he's hard. Although you can debate that whether or not Bruce Willis is hard. He's just the wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time. But
is that a quote from the film?
I don't think so. No, I usually quote most of that. Come to the coast, get together, we'll have a few laughs. But yeah, anyway, getting off the point, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise. You know what I meant. So he gets out of bed. He's got to fix his car because obviously the people he's been kicking out of the bar wreck his car every night. So he drives a Mercedes, which he drove into town with, keeps it under wraps. Nobody knows it's his, and he buys this cheap banger that basically gets him to and from work. And every night it gets vandalised, so he takes it to the auto place. And what's the name of the owner?
Well, I thought they said Red Leicester.
Yeah, so you chuckled because you thought it was named after a cheese.
His name was actually Red
Leicester.
It wasn't Leicester.
I'm sure it was Red Leicester.
No, it wasn't Leicester. Webster.
Red.
Although that's really hard for me to say. The R and the W.
Well, he was played by Red West.
Oh.
So it was Red. So that's probably easier. Red. Okay, Red. Are you ready to go, Red? Yeah. Okay, thanks, Red. So yeah, he was. This is why this film's rubbish. Then the next scene is, we've got to get some context about why he's such a good bouncer and why he's such a good fighter. So you get the bad guy across the road. You get Brad watching him doing Tai Chi on the lawn outside the barn. Oh, because he does Tai Chi. Oh, that's his secret. That's why he's so good at what he does. He's nothing special. I mean, for this person that's worth $5,000 and £500 a night, he's nothing special. All he's done, because spoiler alert for the people who haven't watched the film, he gets his ass kicked quite a lot in this.
He does a little bit, yeah.
Right, and at times when he should be handling himself. I mean, you have Tom Cruise as playing Jack Reacher. You like those films, didn't you?
Oh, they're all right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Tom Cruise could take all those guys?
No.
Well,
it's a film.
No, right, okay. In real life, no. Obviously not. But Jack Reacher can't be in a position whereby he's getting his, arse handed to him. Right? Not like in this film. I mean, there's at least 3 occasions where he's completely outmatched. And if it wasn't for his mate Wade coming in, and for one of them, dare say God knows what would have happened. But so he's nothing special. But it's the film, so we've got to say that he does Tai Chi. And, oh God! So I was like, right. So we find out. So he goes in, he sacks the barman, and so he's skinning from the till. Finds out that the barman was the bad guy's nephew. Right. And then there's a fight. So he tells the barman to go. There's a fight that night. And he gets cut again. He gets cut at the start of the film. He gets cut all the time. So he's got all these stitches and stuff everywhere and these scars. Right? And he goes to the hospital and he meets Doc, Kelly Lynch, who then proceeds to not stitch him up, but staple him up. And in the 2 minutes that she's talking to him, she falls desperately in love with him. I mean, that's the only thing that you can assume from that.
It's a bit like you and me, babe.
Oh, sweetheart. It was less time than that. But he has the staples without anaesthesia. Why? Oh, because he's Patrick Swayze, because he's hard. Right? And I'm like thinking, you're not a very good bouncer if you keep getting stabbed all the time. Right? And if you've had all these stitches, then if you were lining up people for an interview and this guy came in with bruises and everything like that and stitches everywhere, you go, and you've come for? And he goes, the DJ? No, I want to be head bouncer. Oh, and I want to set my own terms and I want to get out. You know, just like, look at you. You're a mess, son.
Skedaddle.
On your way. Exactly. So, yeah. Gets cut twice, I put. I don't even know what that reminds me. I've put not very... That's it. So, yeah, I'd obviously said that on the next page. She's not very good as a bouncer. So, the next thing you know, the film has to go, right, now we have to set up Brad, the bad guy, and we have to make him out to be a complete arse. Because... And you're like... It's just jumping from exposition to exposition to exposition. So we've got to describe this now. We're not going to let this film naturally tell you a story. We're going to force it down you and show you that he's a bad guy. So this starts what is only a series of continuous bad guys, but let's get revenge on the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And after the second one, you're like, is this going to end? Are they going to keep doing this? He calls his mate... Right, this is it. He calls his mate from the bar, right? Mm. He calls Wade, the Sam Elliott character, who's having his own problems in his own bar type thing, right? And he just calls him. And then you look at the bar that Sam Elliott's in and go, I like that bar. That looks all right. I don't want to be in the Double Deuce. I don't want to be in Dalton's bar, but I do want to be in Sam Elliott's. But for no reason.
Yeah.
Just
he
to say,
asks him if he knows this guy, but he won't because he's in another town.
Exactly. He's like, no, I've never been there. It's
it felt a little bit disjointed, that.
And it's and what's it trying to do? Oh, hello. This part of the film is here to tell you that he's got a friend, right? Who was also a bouncer. Who, I don't know, might come and help him at some point.
And taught him everything he knew.
Taught him everything he knew. Well, not much because he keeps getting stitches. So he's obviously he didn't listen much. Anyway, we go back to the Double Deuce. It's a bit more civilised. The fence has been removed. The Hoods arrived for the first one. There's a fight. The Doctor arrives, right? So they put the fight outside, and there's a massive fight, and the Doctor arrives, and I wrote it down, and I'm just going to tell you what I wrote. She's on heat. Basically, she sees Dalton, she sees Patrick Swayze kick the shades out of these people, right? And it's just like, oh God, yeah, well. Now, she's dressed for a night at the really, really nice restaurant. She's not dressed to go to the Double Deuce.
Is she dressed in the red and white
dress
that looks like a tablecloth?
Yes.
Yeah.
But, so she's turned up because he said, oh, do you want to come to the bar sometime? After there's 2 minutes where fireworks and everything went off. And she's obviously gone, what, that crap hole? I'm not going anywhere near it. No, she goes, oh, of course I will. Yeah, I'll come down. I'll wear my best finery and I'll see you down there.
Bizarre.
I'll wear the tablecloth and I'll come down. And then, so she fights and she's like, oh, this is amazing. I really wish I'd... You're going to have to help me with my recollection of it. I mean, I put the next bit, small town. This is such a small town, they would know where he is. You know, they would know, oh, I think he's renting the barn up. And
Yeah,
right?
They would, yeah.
And do you know why? It's vindicated because the girl he meets and befriends at the bar, she's just like the token girl who works at the bar who's got a heart of gold type thing, comes to the barn to find him. To talk to him at some point. So everyone knows where he is. So in this case, the Hoods won't be coming to the bar. They'd just be vandalising the Mercedes within an inch of its life and burning the barn down and to get out of town. Who do you think you are? But nobody does that. Instead, they keep turning up to go to the bar expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So the next bit you're going to have to help me with. He goes to Brad Wesley's, the woman with the bad eye.
Oh, yeah, because she's been beaten up.
Oh, right, so...
She wanted to make a move on him.
My 80s crush was beaten up.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
She made a move on Swayze.
Right. Yeah, but she'd make a move on anybody.
Yeah, but... and then the guy that she was with dragged her out. She wasn't with him as a couple. She's with the nasty guy.
Yeah.
And he's obviously... showing her his fist. And then when Patrick turns up the following day...
So, again, it's not going to naturally let you get there. It's just going to say, oh, look at this bar. He's really, really bad. And by the way, we're going to make him really, really, really bad in the next scene, and then carry on. Right? There's no flow. There's no natural flow to this film. It's not good. If you haven't watched it, if you like the way we're describing it and you want to go and watch it, maybe one day, maybe if this podcast, as an evolution, we'll do a watch along. Yeah, so we'll tell people that we're going to do it, and we'll do a watch along where we comment on it live. You
can do that, can't you? You can have
you can.
A hangout or something.
Yeah, you can do that
and sort of screen a movie.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do that one time. So the doctor, he goes cut back to the bar again. He's in the bar and he's finishing his shift. He gets outside, and the doctor's waiting outside. Yeah? She's waiting outside.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah, because I'm like, why don't you go in and say hello? She's just sat out there. And obviously, it's not a nice environment outside the bar. It's, there's loads of hoodlums and stuff hanging out. Right? But she's just sat out there. And she's on heat again. She's like, do you want to go back to the bar? He's had screwdrivers put through his tyres and stuff like that. She's going, I'll just drive you back. Drives you back. And here we come to the most cliched part of the film. And that's saying something, because there's a lot in here. He takes her up to the bar. Don't before you start getting into innuendo mode. He takes her up the barn. He takes her to the top of the barn. Forget your smutty innuendos. And what does he put on the radio? What does he put? What record does he put on? Or cassette? I don't know.
He doesn't. He puts the radio on.
And what's on the radio?
Oh, some...
These Arms of Mine by Otis Redding.
No. Before he gets to that, there's some others. And she was like, oh no.
No, he puts some rock on.
Yeah.
That's right. And she said, just change that, because obviously I'm not gonna shag you to Metallica. Well, each to your own, however you want to play it. So he changes the radio, and These Arms of Mine by Otis Redding comes on. Cliche klaxon is so loud at this point that it's almost drowning out the fact this is exactly the same song he used in Dirty Dancing.
No, it isn't.
It is, because I went and checked.
Oh.
These Arms Are Mine by Otis Redding appear at I don't know Dirty Dancing that well, but appears at a very similar moment in there, and I'm kind of like, honk, klaxon, honk. It's like going off at this point, going, okay, if the next thing are we going to find out that she can't dance, and he's going to end up teaching her dancing at the same time he's a good bounce. Where's this film going to go at this point? Good Lord.
Well, it was up against the fireplace wall, which looked the most uncomfortable place to have a liaison up against a wall.
Oh, a liaison? How about the fact that they end up on the sloping roof out of the garage?
Before that, though.
No, I've written it down here.
Yeah.
They're waiting outside, doctor waiting outside, then they shag. This is my notes. The next bit is, Brad sees them together.
Yes, but like when they shag, if that's the term that we're going to use, it's very Austin Powers.
Well, it saves us getting censored.
Well, it could be a dance, you see.
It is. It was a dance.
Well, there we are.
Yes.
So, when he's kind of got her up against the wall, which is the most uncomfortable wall to be up against. It's like
it's rock, isn't it?
Undulating rock. And you're like,
for those who don't know, bare exposed rock. For those who don't know building terms like undulating.
Well, undulating just means not even.
Okay, well, some people might not do that.
Stuff. Anyway, it's just horrendous. I would have had a particular go at the director if I'd have had to have done that, so even with Patrick Swayze.
We've never had an experience with an undulated wall, as you can tell.
Oh, good Lord. And it was just totally unrealistic. Really was. And she didn't seem to be wearing any pants either, as in knickers, which I thought was a little bit weird.
Well, maybe she took them off before
Didn't see any of that.
So she was sat outside the bar.
She was sat outside, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they go on the roof. So they go outside the window on the roof, the sloping roof that's outside, just so
it's like a corrugated tin roof.
That the bad guy, Brad, can see them from his mansion over the road. And she's not very intelligent, because you find out that she was the ex of he used to go out with the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right. So she's a doctor, but she's not very intelligent to see how she's got zero intelligence. This is the problem. This is the problem these days, is that you meet very educated or seemingly educated people with no common sense, no idea of reality, and no idea of context. Pretty much, getting all political, our current government. But anyway, education counts for nothing, is what I'm saying, unless you're a doctor in this case, which she is. But I would expect her to know what the difference between a stitch and a staple, and all the things that she does do as a doctor.
If they're doing that on a corrugated tin roof, then
she might have packed up.
There would be lots of flying insecty things. Surely they'd have got bitten.
Well, they might have done. She's on heat. She doesn't care. She just wants Patrick Swayze. She sees him with his top off, and she does what every other girl in a cinema in 1989 does. Is all coo and go, "Oh, that was me." Corrugated. No, what? Undulated? What did you say?
Undulated wall.
Undulated wall or not? Right. If people said, "Oh, do you want to get with Patrick Swayze?" Well, yeah, but it's one of those questions. It has to be on an undulated wall. They just say yes. It's just really as simple as that. They, would I like to have, been with the girl from the bar on an undulated wall? I'd go, I don't know what one is, so yes, let's do it. So, next thing you know, we're back at the bar, and it's the day, and the bad guys turn up, because what's happened is, he's got his alcohol, because the barman's been skimming. The bad guy, who supplies the drinks to the bars, cut them off, so he's found drinks from somewhere else. The drinks have come in, the bad guys go, "No, put those drinks back, you're not allowed that." And Patrick Swayze gets his ass kicked outside.
Again.
And his mate turns up, so Wade, thankfully, some acting relief in all of this, turns up all, bedraggled and grizzled, and proceeds to help him. And they end up arriving and beating them up. Then he says, "Oh, Wade, I'd like to take you to meet somebody." So they go and pick up the doctor from the hospital, right? And then they go out drinking all night.
Yeah, and Wade's all over her. I found that really weird.
No, wait a minute. I need to point out this point. They go to another bar. They go to a different bar. So there's obviously other bars in this town.
Yeah.
Right, which you would assume, if the bad guy's controlling the drinks at the Double Juice and he cuts them off, he must be controlling all of these bars. In which case, they must all be, crap holes. But this place that they're drinking, they're all sitting there reminiscing in stories. "Oh, I'll tell you what Patrick Swayze was like. I'll tell you what Dalton was like." But anyway, bang, bang, bang. But they're obviously drinking at night.
It's like 4 a.m, isn't it? So they go for breakfast.
Yeah, so so it's light. So it must be like 5 o'clock or something like this. Oh no, we know how long it is because she said she has to go and get 2 hours sleep.
Yeah.
Right, but here's the thing: if I'd been drinking all night and I suddenly gone, "Oh, I know I've done this in Vegas," right? You get to 4 o'clock in the morning and you go, "Oh, I really must go and get some sleep." Right, and you literally get 3 hours of sleep every night in Vegas because that's how it is. Because you lose track of time and everything.
We were on stag do.
Yeah, but I was on. Yeah, it was a week. It was a week long. It was a week long stag do. 2 weddings, 2 stag do's. But anyway, you're drunk. That's the whole point. Is you go in. I ate in a McDonald's at the MGM Grand at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was wonderful. It's a great place, and not the McDonald's, the MGM Grand, but you're still drunk. None of those look like they'd had a drink at all. It's all basically, right, she goes, "Toodle pip," sorry to nick your thing from it, "Toodle pip, I'm off now because I've got to start my shift in 2 hours, so I need to go home and get some sleep." Which I assume means she's going to get about an hour's sleep because it's going to take a quarter of an hour to drive home, quarter of an hour to get to work, and then she's got to brush her teeth and all that sort of stuff. She'll get in an hour and she gets up again.
Yeah, freshen herself up so she's not smelling of alcohol.
Well, I don't think she is smelling alcohol because I don't think any of them have had any alcohol. Because they're all perfectly compos mentis and talking away and not talking rubbish and saying Jaffa cake, biscuit or cake, or all the other stuff that you do when you drink. Right? Nothing like that at all. There's no banter. So they go for a drink, they end up at the diner. Wade says, I'm still thinking of Memphis. And at this point, you learn that in Memphis, Dalton ripped a guy's throat out to protect himself because the guy stuck a gun in his face. So you get to know a bit of backstory. Oh, suddenly Patrick Swayze is a little bit more interesting. But this is like over halfway of the film now. So back at the bar, Red's place burns down. So the auto place.
Yeah.
Which you don't realise at this point is just over the road from the bar. I thought it was somewhere else in town, but no, it's just over the road from the bar. That burns down, and Brad, the bad guy, turns up at the Double Juice, being a bit of an arse, with his girlfriend. His girlfriend dances, and, you know, she's dancing provocatively on the stage, takes her clothes off and all this sort of thing, tries to bring it down. Next thing you know...
those are some seriously 80s high-cut knickers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They start saying macho stuff. If you're going to have a pet, keep it on a leash. He says
and then his bodyguard
the bodyguard
kicks off, doesn't he?
His bodyguard starts spinning the pool cue. Like those people in the sort of... Like the people in the 80s when you were playing pool. And everyone watched The Colour of Money, which was, the year before, with Tom Cruise and Paul Newman, so the sequel to The Hustler. Yeah. And saw Tom Cruise spinning a pool cue. Tom Cruise can do many things, and he can spin a pool cue, right? This guy was obviously trying to be like one of those people. Oh, look at this! I've watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a year later, but oh look, I can do all of this. And basically, he looked like one of those people in there that you just wouldn't give a.
Maybe
second.
he looked a bit like the lightsaber dude.
Oh, the Drunken Jedi. Yeah. Well, go and YouTube that, and you'll have much better time than this.
Yeah.
Brad fires the gun in the air because obviously it's getting out of hand. They're having a bit of a fight. Next thing you know, the townspeople go, really need to do something about Brad. He's burnt down the place, and Red's going, no, I'm out. I'm getting out of town. Next thing you know, the guy that was heading up that, the car dealer, the monster truck arrives at his place, drives over all the cars. Next thing you know, he's back at home. So Dalton's back at home, and the barn goes up in flames. So somebody set the barn next to where he's staying, and it turns out it's the guy that's spinning the pool cue. So the barn blows up. He fights with this guy. The guy pulls a gun. Kelly Lynch, aka Doc, runs. Takes a long time to run from the barn just down to where they're fighting. A long time. But she arrives just at the time to see him rip out the throat. So he does the same thing again to this guy. Pushes him in the river, screams over to the Brad who's watching. There you go, there's your champion, that sort of thing.
She goes off him then, though, doesn't she?
She goes off him, but then the next thing you know, Brad rings him up at the bar and goes, choose who dies, heads or tails. He goes, why? He said, well, I forgot what happened, but it turns out that he couldn't save them both, and they'd beaten up Wade. They
dropped him back at the
double
thing,
juice.
Yeah. And this was like in the daytime, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he said to Wade, I've got to go and save her.
And he said, yeah, you go and save her. And he's propped up and he's sat on a stool. He's beaten up, but he's sat on a stool.
So he goes off again to go and get her from the hospital. But she basically says she doesn't want to know him anymore.
Yeah.
And
tries to drag it. He's quite forceful. He's a bit of an arse at that.
Yeah. He leaves without her, doesn't he?
He leaves without her, yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes back to Double Juice and then thinks Wade's sleeping on the counter, but he's not. He's been stabbed to death, basically.
Yeah. So he gets back to the bar, and you think Wade's asleep on the bar.
I've just said that.
Oh, sorry.
You think he's asleep on the bar, but he's actually been stabbed to death.
But he's actually been stabbed with the message. It was tails.
I thought it said you lose. Okay.
No, it was tails.
Okay.
And he stabbed him. So he takes the knife out. Next thing you know, it's at the mansion. There's a car driven at speed. It's been ramped up. It goes at them.
Oh yeah, the car going at speed.
Yeah.
It's actually got to go through a brick wall.
Yeah.
And then miraculously, the car is like forced up, and it just like goes up on a ramp. And
yeah.
you're like,
So it's like one of those really.
How that happened? He should have been hitting the wall.
It's a bit like Commando. You can see it. In Commando where he's chucking grenades and basically World War III.
Yeah.
You can see if you look. You can see the ramp propelling the soldiers in the air. I mean, it's movie magic. You're not supposed to. You're too busy watching that to see that.
Yeah. Oh, there was some bad wig.
But you can see
There were some bad wig moments, weren't there?
Yes.
In this for continuity, really, really bad wigs.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, car's driven at speed. He takes them out, like
Yeah.
Skulkily. He takes out one of the big fat guy that works for there, by rolling a stuffed polar bear at him. I just thought, if you've got to this point, if you've got all the way to this point, then this is just going to basically say, you fool for sticking around, because we're now going to make it so stupid. This guy's going to be scared, genuinely scared of a polar bear that comes towards him, presumably on some sort of wheels. And then it falls over and it traps him and it knocks him out. So then it's Brad versus Dalton, so the two of them are left, pretty much. And I said to you, oh my god, I'm surprised he's not gone through that glass table. Yes, there was a glass table. Because it was so cliched. Yeah. It was like, oh look, there's a glass table. Someone's going through that. And then they didn't. And you're like, oh, okay. They missed an opportunity there. Yeah. And then, yes. So what happens is, you get this, just before we mention the glass table, I think you know what's coming, but this happened a lot in 80s films. You always, whether it was Steven Seagal, whether it was somebody else or whatever, you always had to have somebody of the equal of the action hero. So, there's Jean-Claude Van Damme, all those things had to have an equal. Somebody that could beat them. But 80s films decided not only to do that, which was fine, but then to have really bad matchups, whereby you go, it would just take that person to look at them funny in order for them to fall over. Now, Brad, the bad guy, is what, in his late 40s? Presumably, in this? I think he's early 50s, isn't he? Maybe he's early 50s, right? Not particularly crocked, apart from the fact he's got a gun, that's about it, right? And when they're ending up having a fight, this guy gets a few punches in, and I'm saying, I'm not being funny, it push him over, and it's just and I just thought, this isn't a fight of equals. Anyway, they get a few punches. He gets a few punches in, but the residents, like the guy who owns the dealership, the monster trucks, they all come in. The farmer who had his thing burnt down, and the owner of the Double Juice all come in with shotguns, and they all blast him. They'll just shoot him. Yeah, but the stupid thing is, one blast of a shotgun would actually have killed him. Yes, at that closer range. About 6, doesn't it? It's like 6 blasts, and you're like, that's not realistic. Blasts. And then what happens? And then he falls backwards onto the glass table. You knew that was there for a reason. Anyway, at the end of it, he ends up with the doc, and I'm going, well, how did you get to the grips that this guy now twice has ripped somebody's throat out in the heat of? And why isn't he arrested? For what? Ripping the guy's throat out? Yeah, and all the other stuff that's gone on. That's a good point. There's a lot, yeah. It's just ridiculous. You gave it a 6. Wow. It was entertaining. Can I tell you that the trivia is far better than the film? Oh, God. Right, seriously. Then? Right. Are we ready? Yeah, go on. Okay. Do you want to introduce trivia time? It's trivia time.
Trivia time.
Okay, according to the... I think I might put this in order, but... No. Yes. Yeah, this is good. According to Kelly Lynch, whenever Bill Murray sees her sex scene with Patrick Swayze, if it's on TV, he calls her husband to tease him about it. It's just a Bill Murray thing, and I really would take some time to invest it and type in Bill Murray's quirks or Bill Murray's things that he does, and go and find out there's various things that trigger Bill Murray to go and do something to somebody else. It's all really weird. It's not malicious in any way. There's nothing in it. It's a Bill Murray has got a thing that if he sees something, I can't remember some of them, but if Back to the Future's on, he'll ring Christopher Lloyd or something like that and start imitating him, or you go like, oh God, Back to the Future's on TV. Thanks, Bill. All right, something like that. So yeah, Patrick Swayze was trained by kickboxing champion and action star Benny Urquidez, who also had a small cameo in the film. Patrick Swayze's fame caused problems during filming. A pickup truck containing a group of middle-aged blonde women attempted to drive up right to the star's trailer to meet the actor. During the big fight by the river, i.e. throat ripped out, a raft of Swayze-loving ladies sailed by.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's amazing.
A female extra playing a female extra playing a waitress was too busy staring at Swayze to watch where she was going, so she tripped, spilling all the drinks on another extra, which wasn't part of the film. And I'm like, I kind of like that. But I love this bit. Due to a knee injury sustained during filming, Patrick Swayze turned down the roles of Gabriel Cash in Tango and Cash. So basically, I can't remember which one was which in that.
He wasn't the dog.
Gabriel Cash and Ray Tango. I think it was Kurt Russell's. He would have had Kurt Russell's role in Tango and Cash. And Mike Harrigan, which was played by Danny Glover in the end, for Predator 2. He chose to make Ghost as his follow-up instead, because it was a less physically strenuous role. His knee injury ended up being a blessing in disguise, as Ghost ended up being a big hit, received critical acclaim. Tango and Cash was a box office flop, as was Roadhouse. So, Marshall R. Teague, who played Jimmy, the guy that gets his throat ripped out, initially didn't get along with Patrick Swayze, but whilst filming the big fight, both men quickly realised they shared a dedication to realistic stunts, which improved their relationship. They developed so much mutual trust that they improvised a lot and allowed each other to throw real punches and kicks. When Jimmy swings a log at Dalton, Teague mistakenly thought it was a breakable prop log.
Oh, God.
By the end, Swayze was covered in bruises and had 2 broken ribs and a busted knee. But if he hadn't have done that, he would have made Tango and Cash and he'd never have made Ghost. And at this point, you go, and he'd never been propelled to movie stardom. He only made one good film after that. I dare say that people, would argue Donnie Darko and some of the other ones, but the film's original tagline referenced Patrick Swayze's success in Dirty Dancing. Do you want to have a guess at the tagline?
It's not about baby in the corner.
The dancing's over. Now it gets dirty.
Oh, good Lord.
I know.
That's awful.
I know.
That is awful.
It is awful.
They didn't use that, did they?
They did. The film's original tagline.
No.
Yep.
That's just not necessary.
The film's listed in the 100 most enjoyably bad movies ever made in Gold, the official Razzie Movie Guide. So I've said about Otis Redding. According to director's commentary, some of the other scenes got cut out because the movie was too long. Was a fight scene. So when the barman gets replaced, gets replaced by a black guy.
Yeah,
that's Keith David. He's starred in loads of stuff. I really honestly should have done Keith David because he's probably more successful than all the others, but he didn't pop up in the. Keith David's been in loads of stuff. And I really apologise, Keith David, if you come across the podcast. Well, it could happen. I mean, he's mates with Robert Downey Jr. perhaps, so you probably told him about the podcast. Keith David is right down at the bottom because I don't think he even says a line.
No, he doesn't.
Right.
Oh, no. Does he?
Keith David.
He's the one that gives him coffee, isn't he?
Keith David. So I'm showing you, for those people that aren't playing at home, I'm showing you the picture of what he's been in. Pitch Black, The Thing. He's been in stuff. He will have been in stuff that we've seen recently, because there's loads of stuff that he's been in. He was in probably things you've been watching. But anyway, Keith David. So I apologise. So yeah. But anyway, a fight scene where Keith David is introduced, in which he arrives at the Double Juice with his girlfriend, gets into a fight with some rednecks, and then Dalton hires him to work as the bartender.
Oh.
Right?
So that's cut then.
Cut. That would have made more context rather than where did this guy come from?
Yeah.
There are also a lot more scenes between him and Dalton. The scene where the sheriff of the town is introduced was also cut. The final showdown in Wesley's mansion originally had Dalton knocking out all of Wesley's henchmen on screen, while in the final cut he's only shown out taking out the last 3.
Right.
First of 2 Roadhouse movies, there was a sequel.
What's that?
The sequel, Roadhouse 2, Last Call, was made for DVD. The part of Nate Tanner in the follow-up was originally supposed to be James Dalton, James Dalton, Patrick Swayze's character from this movie, but Swayze backed out due to creative differences and the character was changed. The picture was nominated for 5 Golden Raspberry Awards: Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay, Worst Actor, Patrick Swayze, and Worst Supporting Actor, Ben Gazzara, the guy who played Brad, the bad guy. He was dreadful in this. Kelly Lynch spent a month in a real emergency room preparing for the role. She also learned how to sew a proper stitch for one scene, but they changed it to staples. So she learned all of that.
Wasted then?
Bit of a waste. The auto supply explosion, so the red car thing, woke the neighbours. They thought the MGM Studios was burning down because it was filmed on the lot, on the set. Cost $25,000 to shoot that.
Oh my God.
I know, you're like thinking. So we've said about the characters of they're all named after. So the character who owns the barn where Dalton went to room, Emmett, has the first name of Emmett Dalton, leader of the notorious bandit ring, the Dalton Gang, which is from Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
So that's where you come from. On Family Guy, season 8, episode 4, Brian's got a brand new bag. Peter Griffin buys the Roadhouse DVD at a going out of business sale at Quahog Video. After watching the film, Peter comically decides that all of life's problems could be solved by kicking. After kicking his target, he would say the film's catchphrase, the film's title is a catchphrase. So every time he kicks someone, he goes, Roadhouse. The episode was dedicated to Patrick Swayze, who died of pancreatic cancer several weeks before the episode aired. So it was kind of like a nice trilogy. According to the cast and crew, and also the 1989 interview with Sam Elliott, are you ready for this? The original cut to the movie was 3 hours, 20 minutes long.
Oh no!
Which meant a lot of the stuff had to be cut out. Some of the deleted scenes include Dalton making the other bouncers wear ballet outfits and dance as part of their training.
Why?
To make them probably less self-conscious or something. Don't know. There's also a still picture showing Dalton fighting with Ketchum, the guy with the knife boot, you know, when they came in.
Yeah.
Inside the Double Deuce in a different fight other than the one in the film. And most of the scenes with Carrie Ann, who was the girl who befriended him in the bar, were also cut as well. So the last few. The theatrical trailer shows some deleted scenes. Dalton grabbing some guy by the mouth and telling him don't be rude, which we've just seen. This is the trailer. Wade sitting on the couch drinking beer and saying, so says the fighting philosopher. These aren't in the film. So again, 3 hours 20-minute cut. Carrie Ann sitting in the car with Dalton asking him, what's the matter, Dalton? Don't you like women? Dalton saying, best I ever had was wonderful. Dalton saying I'm not afraid of him in the scene where he talks with Doc before Emmett's house explodes. And Wesley in a bar going, I guess he'd be having that fire sale now, Red. Again, I was obviously not paying attention that much. Dalton doesn't strike anyone until 26 minutes into the film. I like that one. When Wade stabbed Death with the note saying it was tails, referring to Wesley flipping the coin, it's shown the knife. Later, it's shown the knife belongs to Ketchum, the guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Then Dalton stabs Ketchum, saying tails again. If you look at the scene where the Mercedes, you see Dalton stuck this same knife in the gas pedal, and he goes to retrieve it. The handle of the knife is capped off with a quarter, with the tail side showing.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, if this was a better film, that you would go, oh, that's genius. As it is, I don't care. So
it's superfluous.
It is superfluous. I'm not going to say that there's going to be a theme here, but I'm sure if you look back at the films that you've picked against the films that I've picked, we've enjoyed mine a lot more than we've enjoyed yours.
No, because I've not enjoyed some of yours.
You picked Escape from New York. Never watching that again.
Well, you've got to try these things.
Yeah, okay. Well, I could have told you Escape from New York, but
we didn't do Escape from LA, thank God.
Thank goodness. No, definitely not. So, I'm picking the next one, yeah?
Okay, what, have you got it?
I haven't thought You said you wanted more, like, action.
Well,
like,
sort of action-ish.
Patrick Swayze, it's not an action movie star.
I know, but I thought Roadhouse was better.
We both did, to be fair. So, yeah. Okay, so, I don't know. Have you got anything in mind?
No.
What about Steven Seagal or something like that?
What?
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal. Potential.
Oh, it's good, though. The way that he does all his, like...
Yeah, but... it's a bit...
like that.
I don't know. I just look at him now and I think, God, you're just a bit odd, aren't you?
Yeah, well, look at Arnie. I mean, Bruce still looks all right. Jean-Claude's all right. You know. Think of the...
We'll have a thing.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Dolph Lundgren. In a film called Dark Angel. It's on our list. It's on our original list, I think. Shall I tell you what our original list says?
What films are in our Rusted Junk trailer this season?
Taps we've done. Rocky 4 we've done. We've got The Running Man, which is in there with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We could do another Arnie film.
Oh, it might be all right.
If you want. Yeah, I like The Running Man. Yeah, okay. I like that. On our list, we had Bloodsport, which we've done. Escape from New York, which we've done. Taps, which we've done.
Yeah.
Then we had Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines.
Not seen that, have we?
Let's do Run. Let's have a bit of action, light-hearted.
Okay.
Billy Crystal's funny in that one. We've got RoboCop, No Way Out, Sea of Love.
Oh, RoboCop.
Let's leave RoboCop. So we've got another 3-4 films in this season before we change it to. We've already got the idea for season 4, but we'll tell you about that another time.
All right.
It's good. It's very good. Okay, so we're doing Running Scared next.
Running Scared. Okay.
Running Scared. Right, there you go. There's your thing. As ever, get in touch with us. RustedJPod at Instagram and Twitter. Rusted Junk in Facebook. Just type that in and you will find us, because nobody else ever thinks about a throwaway line in a very poor 1988 film starring Paul Weller called Leviathan. So Rusted Junk doesn't mean anything to anyone apart from the good listeners of this podcast and us who love creating it for you. So get in touch, will you? Right, this is the second warning out of 3. Right, we need somebody just to contact us and say, we love what you do. We love what you do. Can nominate a film. I mean, literally, we would love some feedback. Nominate a film. Tell us that you think, Amanda's way off when she reviews The Breakfast Club and talks about The Breakfast Club. And tell me that my dulcet tones are the reason that you tune in.
No.
Whatever you want to talk to us about.
I think they want
fine.
more. Little does she know.
Do they?
I think they're just asking for that, really.
Okay, how about this one then? An impromptu one.
Oh.
Give me 2 Steven Seagal films. And you can have sequels.
He always looks the same in them.
See?
No, I can't.
Right. You could have Nico, Hard to Kill, but you could have Under Siege.
No.
You could have Under Siege 2. One set on a boat, one set on a train.
No.
Seagulls on a train, like snakes on a plane. Seagull, actually. It's just a seagull on the train. Seagull. You say potato, I say potato.
Didn't he change his name anyway?
He might have done. It might have been.
He's got citizenship elsewhere.
What,
now,
like Cat Stevens changed his name to converted to be Muslim. He's now called Yusuf Islam is his name, but he was called Cat Stevens. That's how he had his hits.
No, I think hasn't Steven Seagal gone into one of the Eastern?
He might have done. He might have become a Buddhist or something like that.
No, it's not Buddhism. He's not necessarily changed his religion. He's become a citizen of sort of like a Russian state somewhere.
Okay.
I'm sure he has.
I'll take your word for it.
I'll have to have a look.
Sounds great. Anyway, more light-hearted. So, here's your warning. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be doing Running Scared. So if you don't want to go and watch it, don't get the updated one in 2005 or something like that. We're doing the 1986, he says? 1986 film. I love Gregory Hines. But anyway.
Right, come on, let's go.
Right, okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm going to say thanks for listening and cheerio.
Toodle pip.
Bye.
Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. The Forgotten 80s Movies. The Forgotten 80s Movies.